will touch each other in an appropriate way.
Yeah.
Okay. I decided to read the intro to the chapter on how to make adult friends, because I think that that might be pretty appropriate. You all look like you're adults, unless you're sneakily like 3 children stacked on each other with a jacket around you. I don't know, I can't see. I moved to Brooklyn right after I graduated college in New Jersey, and I spent a few years kind of finding myself and then also finding adults that became my really, really good friends, which I didn't think was possible. So it was a learning experience, and then I wrote about it in this book. So now I'm going to read from it right now. How to make adult friends. Ever since I can remember, I've had this irrational notion that there's only a short window of time to make friends, and that I'd sort of just have them for the rest of my life. I never thought that I could make new friends as an adult. I'd be way too busy doing my taxes or picking out the classiest briefcase. I could have acquaintances or people I saw occasionally and whose company I enjoyed, but making new friends as a grown-up just didn't happen. Welcome to my stunted socialization. I've never been great at making friends. Does this sound like a sob story, or do I just sound self-aware? Putting myself out there was never my strong suit. I prefer blazers and jeans, lol. Let it sit in. My parents have been divorced since I was tiny, 1/8 formed human. Every other weekend I was at my dad's house away from my friends, so I missed a lot of hangout opportunities, which was fine by me. I preferred spending time with my family rather than enter the social gauntlet. However, by the time I reached 11th or 12th grade, my social circles were more like social dots. I could count my friends on one hand, if that, which was okay by me. I've never been the person with 100 friends. Maintaining that many relationships makes me anxious, but what doesn't? When I got to college, reality smacked me in the butt with a wet towel. Reality was kind of pervy. I was on my own and forced to make new friends, except I had absolutely no idea how to do it. I hung out with very few people in high school, and we were all on the same end of the underdeveloped socialization spectrum. In college, I remember sort of trying to hang out and talk to people on my floor, but ultimately, I was too shy and nervous to see any of those relationships through. I used to sit on my bed at night and actually try to break down the act of making a friend. Really true. Does it happen when you have a common interest, or when you're introduced by someone else, or does it require witchcraft? I felt like a socially underdeveloped loser. Why didn't they teach a class in freshman year called "Here Are Some Friends, Now Go Be Less Sad"? I just wanted someone to give me a guidebook. I spent college. I got really into self-help books and that whole idea of psychology and how we exist in the world and how we interact with each other. When I was, one summer when I was in college, I was interning in the city, and I lived on the Upper West Side, and I was really lonely because the guy I was dating was a psychology major and decided to go to boot camp for the summer because he wanted to study how that affected the brain. And so there was no cell phone service, and we had no computer access or anything, so we had to write letters to each other all summer, which is so romantic and sucks a dick. And so I remember I would just like look at people in New York and observe people in New York, and I would go down to Penn Station, and I would sit there with a notebook like a total creep, and I would just like watch how people interacted with each other, and watch how they talked to each other, and watch how they waited by themselves, and I thought it was so fascinating. And my roommate, Michelle Vargas, and I at the time got really into self-help, and she got so much into self-help that she's actually a life coach now. And yeah, michelleaiken.tumblr.com. And I think that life coaching can be really helpful. I also think it can be totally ridiculous. So I really wanted to write a book that was something similar to a self-help book, but tried to be more realistic about expectations and more realistic about my personal experiences that I've had. And I think being on the internet and also living in the real world has provided a really great juxtaposition for my brain of learning how we exist both in real life and in digital life. And hopefully that's helpful for you. Any other questions? Yes. A most important piece of advice on being an adult? I think my most important piece of advice on being an adult is that a lot of people equate adulthood with taking life more seriously, and I don't think that that's true. I think you only live once, we're all going to die someday. So I think that it's really helpful to kind of laugh at that and to realize that experiences are a lot more fun if you're having fun. And really, anytime that you feel like conflicted or sad or depressed, it's really finding the root of what's not fun in your life and how can you flip that or change that in some way. And I'm still doing it. Trust me, I am not well adjusted, but trying. Yes. How am I liking Los Angeles compared to New York? I like it a lot. I like both for different reasons. They're kind of like fraternal twins, I think. They're both very attractive, but like they don't look exactly alike. And so I like having space. I like having a car. I like having a backyard that my dog can run in. And yeah, Goose is my dog. She's awful. But I like New York because New York, there's just so much energy. There's so many people. There's so many things. It's hard to get bored of New York. It's easy to get frustrated with New York, but it's hard to get bored. And Los Angeles is it's just a different pace, and I like it. So, yeah. My favorite thing about New York and least favorite thing about New York. I think my favorite thing about New York is just the energy and the spontaneity. I not really know how you got there, but no definites yet. Yes. Positive. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Remember it. And I'm like, what's happened? There's been a lot of really cool, crazy, awesome things that have happened. I got to write a book. That's pretty crazy. I'm working on a television show. That's really crazy. The coolest thing that has happened, though, is that I have been given the opportunity to make creative content with friends. There's such value in like finding like-minded people and then continuing to work with like-minded people. I always tell anyone that asks me, like, what's next? What are you doing next? I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't have a 10-year plan. I've taken this basic improv rule of saying yes and saying yes to projects that come up that feel right and people that feel right along with those projects. I feel like I'm a sensitive person in terms of like positivity. People that are really negative or pessimistic really make me feel sad, and I don't like feeling sad. So yeah, just that's been a really cool thing, is being able to now say yes to projects with best friends. It's very cool. Okay. Yes? Okay, one more question. Make it good.
What drink goes best with the book?
Oh, wow. What drink goes best with the book? Oh, that is a very difficult question. I mean, whatever your heart desires. I mean, it's really up to you. I can't tell you what your palate is. I just something that makes you feel good, something that maybe elevates the comedy in the book, something that like makes it seem like you should buy like 10 more of them because it's so good you need to give it to everyone else. So probably just like tequila. Yeah. Okay, I think we're going to move on to the signing portion. Thank you guys so much for your questions and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Grace. That was fantastic.